It's the dialogue body language here, and today we're looking at Sheryl Sandberg, Facebook's head behind the CEO. Now see, I don't know about you, but I know that my personal Facebook info was stolen by Cambridge Analytica. Who knows what is going to happen to my information in the future? But listen to Sheryl Sandberg. Let's look at her body language in relation to the Cambridge Analytica stealing of our information. 78 million across the world. Now, we tell 90% of our thoughts through our non-verbals than we do from our lips. Let's analyze Sheryl Sandberg just to get a grip as to what she's really saying and it's really wanting.
What is the reason it took so long? You could have done all of this 2.5 years ago.
You were right that we could have done this 2.5 years ago.
So why didn't?
Did you see that? Her head was going side to side. When we see that, that's called incongruency. And automatically I see something that's not marrying up with what's coming out of her mouth. So I don't believe her at the get-go. Let's have a look at that again.
You were right that we could have done this 2.5 years ago.
So why didn't you?
She does a lot of this, a lot of micro expressions or micro mannerisms.
Because, as I explained, we thought that the data had been deleted and we should have checked. You are right about that.
No, she's not. You're shaking your head again. This is the second time in about 10 seconds. Another thing that this Sheryl Sandberg is doing is she's turtling. So her head is going into her neck and her shoulders are trying to cover her up. This is a subconscious thing to keep us safe. She is hiding. Third non-verbal that I see, this is a cluster and it tells me that she's in deceit.
We thought that the data had been deleted and we should have checked. You are right about that.
You are right about that. You can see obviously that it's incongruent.
What
Why
we're
didn't
doing
you
now,
check?
we thought it had been deleted because they gave us assurances and it wasn't until other people told us it wasn't true. But
why go on?
So she's got the verbals going on. Let's have a look at that again. And her eyebrows have raised. Right there. So she's saying, listen to me, believe me, I want you to see what I'm saying.
it wasn't until other people told us it wasn't true. But
why?
It wasn't until other people told us it wasn't true. Now she's sort of blaming other people. And who are these other people? So it tells me again that she's not being straightforward.
I go on
But
Facebook
here's
with
what we're
someone who's
doing.
already violated, in spirit, if not in the letter,
Well,
of Facebook's principles. Why would you then trust, oh, they'll delete it? That's like someone robbed your house.
Now, she shouldn't be over-talking this lady here. She's trying to shut her down, even though she's giving it to her. I've got to say, Sheryl Sandberg has been in the job long enough to know that she shouldn't be over-talking this woman and trying to shut her down.
In the letter of Facebook's principles. Why would you then trust, oh, they'll delete it? That's like someone robbed your house and you're like, well, you'll
no,
give
we
it back.
didn't trust. We had legal assurances from them that they deleted. What we
Okay, that could be congruent. So far, congruent in that little segment.
didn't do was the next step of an audit, and we're trying to do that now.
Okay, right here. Let's go back and listen to the voice again.
Was the next step of an audit, and we're trying to do that now.
An audit, and we're trying to do that now. Now she's going all froggy on us. Not only was she a turtle before, she's now a frog. So her throat is turning into a frog voice. And she's going, and when you lose the significance of your voice, or it becomes weaker, significantly weaker, which I can tell, that is one red flag to tell me that she's in deceit. So there's many already with this Sheryl Sandberg.
We didn't trust. We had legal assurances from them that they deleted. What we didn't do was the next step of an audit, and we're trying to do that now.
Yeah. Okay, it's either one of two things. She's in deceit, or that she knows that she should have done the audit to begin with. And she's sort of dying down on the ends of her words because she's been found out.
Your users, where would you put it?
Well, we put it at the very top of any scale because we take any breach of trust with users that seriously.
So I don't believe her. Now this is sort of going back to the beginning here.
On a scale of 1 to 10, this breach of trust with your users, where would you put it?
And if we even look at her face there, the ends of her mouth are pointed down. She's waiting for the onslaught.
Well, we put it at the very top of any scale because...
No, you don't put it at the top of any scale because your head was shaking, not nodding. It's incongruent.
we take any breach of trust with users that seriously.
Another thing, her voice again has gone into weak mode. Not quite froggy, but it's weak.
It's a 10.
We have a responsibility to protect.
We have a responsibility to protect, and her head is shaking again. So she doesn't believe that they have a responsibility to protect our information, or she's hiding stuff about that, okay? She probably knows that there's no way they can actually look after our information, plus other nefarious things.
people's data, and we have a responsibility for people to know that they can trust using our services.
Now, do you trust this woman? Because her weak voice is coming to the fore here. She's not strong in herself, and she's not resonating with the viewer.
So whether it happens to one person, whether it happens to a lot of people, whether it's on the front page of the newspaper or it just happens to one person, that's always a 10.
It's a huge breach. Is it greed? Was it incompetence? When you think big picture, what went wrong?
But what we weren't focused enough on.
And Zelda's shrugging. She's turtling again, and her eyes were closing. And she said what we weren't focused on. And she's disappointed that maybe they didn't focus more on it because she's been exposed.
Was protecting, because that same data that you enable to use social experiences can also be misused.
Let's talk about Cambridge Analytica. This first came to Facebook's attention in December 2015. That's 2.5 years ago. And only now...
Again, elongated closing of the eyes. It means that she's not happy with what's gone on Facebook.
Is Facebook taking these serious steps that you've announced this week? What is the reason it took so long? You could have done all of this 2.5 years ago.
You were right that we could have done this 2.5 years ago.
So why didn't...
And notice how her leg was sort of swinging there. That's her way of soothing herself.
you?
Because we thought that the data had been deleted and we should have checked. You are right about that.
Yeah, we've seen this, but it's okay to look at it again.
What
Why
we're
didn't
doing
you
now,
check?
we thought it had been deleted because they gave us assurances, and it wasn't until other people told us it wasn't true. But
why go on
But
faith
here's
with
what we're
someone who's
doing.
already violated, in spirit, if not in the letter,
Well-
Facebook's principles?
we had legal assurances from them that they deleted. What we didn't do was the next step of an audit, and we're trying to do that now.
From that little information there from Good Morning, I think, you can see that there's a lot going on, a cluster of information going on. So I don't trust her, what she's saying. She's not doing her job well enough. And I can read that in her body language. She didn't have a finger on the pulse, or if she did, she's in deceit completely. So I'm not trusting this woman in the position she's in. So this is another interview.
We needed to go back and verify that the apps that had the data used it well. So Mark announced very strong steps yesterday. He announced that we're going to be investigating and auditing apps, and if
You notice how she moved her head back before that? That to me is a tiny micro expression, and she's moving away from the problem.
we find misuse, we're going to tell people. He announced that we're going to be further shutting down platforms so apps get much less data, and people on Facebook will have very easy ways to see and control. We're going to put that front and center of the apps.
Right, so I mean, right here, even with this, that she's not being straight up, guys. This is like she's selling something here. She's selling you a story. And if you want to believe it, believe it. But look, I can't believe her. I can't believe Zuckerberg. Please like and subscribe to my new channel, Body Language Analysis from the Dialogue. Hope you enjoyed it. Please look at my Patreon page. Cheers.